Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're breaking down the absolutely critical first chapter of Marcus Sheridan's book, Endless Customers. If you've been banging your head against the wall because your traditional marketing just isn't delivering the way it used to, well, you are definitely in the right place. Today we're going to reveal exactly why the old playbook is broken, and more importantly, how you can completely disrupt your industry to fix it.
So let's just get right into it by asking the question that's probably keeping you up at night. Why is it so incredibly hard to bring in new business right now? I mean, you've poured your heart into your company, you've refined your processes, and you know for a fact your product is superior. So why does growth suddenly feel like pushing a giant boulder up a hill?
In this explainer, we're going to systematically unpack exactly what's going on. We'll cover the customer acquisition crisis, why everything has changed, the era of zero-click, empowering the modern buyer, the endless customer's mindset, and finally the system pillars and components.
All right, let's start right at the source of the pain. Part 1, the customer acquisition crisis.
Look at this list. I bet you're nodding along to at least one of these frustrations right now. You're watching these once hot deals in your pipeline just suddenly stall out. Your reliable organic website traffic drying up. And honestly, the worst part is losing to competitors without the prospect ever even giving your sales team a chance to speak. You might be burning cash on ineffective agency outsourcing, and despite all that effort, you're still struggling to become that universally known and trusted brand in your space.
So what gives? What is actually causing these roadblocks? Let's move to part 2, why everything has changed.
It all boils down to one massive problem. We are operating in a total trust deficit. Consumers have just been burned way too many times. False advertising, under-delivered promises, terrible customer service, you name it. Because of that, trust in brands is at an absolute all-time low. Buyers are terrified of making a mistake, which means they're more cautious and skeptical than ever. Having a great product just doesn't cut it anymore. You have to earn their trust long before they'll even consider reaching out to you.
But honestly, the trust deficit is only half the story here. Which brings us to part 3, the era of zero-click.
We are officially living in the zero-click era. Think about it. For 20 years, the game was super simple. Rank on Google, get the clicks, get the traffic. Done. But today, search engines and AI tools like ChatGPT are specifically designed to give users immediate answers right on the results page. Their whole goal is to keep users on their platforms, not send them over to yours. You just can't build your house on Google alone anymore because those clicks aren't coming like they used to.
This is a total paradigm shift. Look at the difference here. We're moving from traditional SEO, where we totally obsessed over driving direct user clicks, to this new zero-click reality. Our whole mission has to evolve. We literally have to create digital signals, content that is so uniquely valuable and highly visible that we become absolutely impossible for humans and AI to ignore, even if they never physically click a link to our site.
Okay, so search has changed. Let's look at how the buyer has changed in Part 4, empowering the modern buyer.
Get this, 80%, on average, 80% of the buying process, whether we're talking B2B or B2C, is completely finished before a prospect ever talks to a salesperson. Just let that sink in. The vast majority of their decision-making is happening in the dark, entirely without your sales team's influence.
Why? Because today's buyers are what we call infovores. They are absolutely starving for information. I mean, think about it. You wouldn't even buy a $30 toaster on Amazon without reading 10 reviews and comparing features, right? Well, your B2B buyers are doing the exact same thing with your high-ticket services. They want reviews, comparisons, pricing, and they want to know the potential problems up front. And they will stubbornly dig for these answers on their own. If you aren't feeding them this info, trust me, they'll find someone else who will.
And it gets crazier. A recent Gartner study cited in the book threw out this massive number. 75% of buyers now prefer a completely seller-free experience. No hoops to jump through, no high-pressure tactics. They literally do not want to talk to your reps until they feel 100% ready and protected from making a bad call. So how do we meet these buyers where they are? We have to give them the steering wheel. We do this through self-service tools. You need to let them navigate pricing, scoping, and decision-making right on your website. Give them a seamless, completely touchless journey right up until that moment they finally decide to raise their hand.
All right, knowing all these massive challenges leads us directly into the solution. Part 5, the endless customer's mindset.
Here is the secret sauce. If you want to become a trusted brand today, you have to stop acting like a traditional vendor. Right now, you need to start thinking and operating entirely like a media company. Your core goal is to educate, inform, and guide your market way better than anybody else in your industry.
So let's break down the actual tactical frameworks for this in Part 6, System Pillars and Components.
This whole system rests on a foundation of 4 key pillars. First, you gotta say what others hide, like transparent pricing. Second, you have to show what others conceal, usually through video. Third, you must sell by empowering the buyer with those self-service tools we just talked about. And finally, you have to be unapologetically human in a digital world. These pillars demand radical transparency.
A brilliant example of this transparency is what's called the law of the coin. Look, every purchase has 2 sides, right? Reasons you should buy and reasons you shouldn't. By actually pointing out the perceived negatives yourself, addressing the elephant in the room, you prove to the buyer that you care way more about them making an informed choice than you do about making a quick buck. That right there, that's how you obliterate the trust deficit. And this mindset turns into a daily operation through these 5 components. You need the right content, sitting on the right website, driven by the right sales activities, supported by the right technology, and backed by an internal culture of performance. When you actually dial these 5 things in, you're building an unbreakable engine for generating trust and ultimately endless customers.
As we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to let this sink in. Technology, it's going to change. Google's algorithms are going to change. AI is going to evolve. But the fundamental human need for trust, that is a constant. In a world completely drowning in infinite information, trust is quite literally the only currency that matters anymore.
The days of hiding behind gated content and holding back pricing are totally over. The buyer's in the driver's seat now, and they demand transparency. So based on everything we've looked at today, the only question I have left for you is this. Are you ready to embrace this transparency, do what everyone else in your industry is absolutely terrified to do, and build the ultimate trusted brand?